Hi, welcome to Joe Test That Video channel. Last year, I tested and decided that Samsung Galaxy S6 was the best camera phone. Now with the new S7 came out with a bigger sensor, faster lens, and a micro SD card for additional storage. I want to find out if S7 is better than S6. So I got the S7 and carried them with S6 to a trip in Washington DC and in New York City. After spending some time with both phones, here are my opinions about S6 and S7 in terms of camera application. First, the quick launch shortcut. S6 has the very quick camera launch by double-click on the home button to launch the camera app. This is a very useful feature, and S7 has the quick launch feature as well. I was able to snap some quick action pictures with both phones. We can quickly launch the camera even the phone is locked. The difference is that only limited pictures can be reviewed when the phone is locked. Next feature is the exposure compensation. On both S6 and S7, the exposure can be adjusted right on the screen by sliding the light bar after a focus click. This feature is really useful to avoid highlight blowout, especially during video recording. More of this topic in the video section later. The exposure setting cannot be locked though, unless you go to the Pro mode. For the still image quality, both S6 and S7 provide the same color tone in all light conditions. I think Samsung get the picture tone somewhat warmer than other brands, and I like it. I feel that the pictures look more like coming from a Canon camera with the warm pleasing tone. For the image ratio, S7 stick to 4:3 picture ratio as the maximum resolution, while S6 use 16:9 ratio, so pictures from S6 show more information on the long side. But S7 has a 26mm, which is wider than 28mm on S6, so S7 image capture more area on the short side. I think S7 pictures overall look better with the traditional print ratio. I also think that the bigger sensor on S7 captures richer color than S6. For example, the sky color was not washed out, as seen in picture from S6 in some transition area like where the sky touched the building. In the wide angle and zoom pictures, I find that S6 and S7 show similar details. Only when I start to zoom in the shot with the digital zoom that the higher megapixel sensors of S6 capture more details than S7. In the low light situation, S7 really take the advantage of the faster lens and the bigger sensor. I find that the image from S6 consistently suffer minor motion blur, while S7 produce more stable image with the higher shutter speed. I did panorama shots many times during my trip to capture the surrounding scenes beyond the lens view, and both S6 and S7 produce good panorama pictures. The picture stitching is good with similar minor interpolation problem, but the S7 faster lens and the face detection autofocus perform better in low light scenes. For example, in this dinosaur panorama, the S7 shot is still usable while the S6 is totally blurred. For the front camera, the selfie shot from S7 is wider and sharper than S6 due to the upgrade lens. While I don't do much selfie shot, my favorite features turn out to be the wide selfie mode that we pan the camera to capture the selfie in a panoramic style. I did many landmark shots with my family. This mode worked very well on both S6 and S7. Now let's talk about this phone as the video recording cameras. Last year, I picked S6 because of the 4K recording and very usable zoom quality, but I ran out of the storage space quickly with fixed space on S6, so S7 is my solution with the micro SD card. I found S6 and S7 are quick to focus. S7 can also adjust the exposure during the video recording with the exposure bar after the focus. This is useful when recording the stage show, since I can avoid the highlight being blown out. But every time that I change the zoom, the light metering was reset, so the exposure had to be adjusted again. So it was a bit annoying that I have to do 2 additional steps every time when I zoom in or zoom out, in which I have to touch to focus to bring up the light bar, then slide the bar to correct exposure. The S6 originally cannot change the exposure during the recording, but it can do the same as S7 now after the Marshmallow upgrade. S6 performed well during my stage recording test as well. Next is the recording time limit. S6 had 5-minute limit in UHD and QHD recording. S7 improved this area to remove the recording time limit at all resolution. In my experience, I can record 4K with S7 up to about 11 or 12 minutes, then it paused shortly to save the file, and it continued the recording. Also, the software video stabilization is limited to FHD 30 frames per second recording or below on S6, while S7 can use the video stabilization up to QHD. Only in the UHD setting that S7 relies only on the optical image stabilization. With all this improvement, S7 seems to be better than S6, but in my check test, I find that S6 optical image stabilization works better in 4K recording, especially on zoom-in scenes. Also in the zoom test, S6 still keeps the image sharper at the maximum zoom than S7. And that's all for my opinions on S6 and S7 camera. I think S7 camera is better and more practical than S6 overall, but S6 higher resolutions is still show more details than S7 in the zoom shot. Thank you for watching. You can see more extensive testing videos between S6 and S7 camera on my YouTube Joe Test That channel. Bye.